Under the scorching sun of the African savanna, where the golden grass stretches to the horizon, a silent and methodical ambush is taking shape. Dark figures glide low through the vegetation, pressed to the ground like invisible winds. A pride of lionesses, the elite hunters of the pride, is on the stalk. Their eyes are fixed on a herd of zebras moving calmly. To the great cats, the zebra seems a common target. But this is only a superficial perception. A young zebra is slightly separated from the herd. Its steps are slower, its size smaller. In the eyes of the lionesses, it is the perfect prey. However, none of them could have imagined that this hunt was about to end in a completely unexpected way. A precise, dry, and powerful kick with both hind legs. The lioness is stunned. Her predatory instinct is overwhelmed by the pain. She did not expect a prey like a zebra to react so violently. When a herbivore confronts its predator, what determines survival is not just strength or speed. But the three fundamental pillars of survival behavior: instinct, reflex, and adaptive learning. Instinctive behavior is a complex sequence of actions encoded in the genes. It does not need to be learned or practiced, but is performed with innate precision from the very first time. When a zebra kicks a lion to open an escape route, that kick is not a random movement. It is a fixed, innate motor pattern, a pre-programmed movement. Reflex, on the other hand, is a short, instantaneous reaction controlled by a reflex arc at the spinal cord level, with virtually no conscious involvement of the cerebral cortex. A zebra's kick, seemingly insignificant compared to the sharp fangs of a lion or the explosive leap of a cheetah, is actually one of the most effective counterattacks. And the most interesting part is that it does not need to kill the opponent. Just being precise and timely can change the course of the confrontation. Anatomically, the zebra possesses an extremely developed musculoskeletal structure in its pelvic region. The gluteal and thigh muscles are among the strongest in the herbivore kingdom. This is not a kick of panic, but an answer forged in the crucible of a million hunts. A hammer blow of bone and muscle, delivered with an instinct as old as the grass itself. It is a force sufficient to shatter a jaw, to splinter a rib, to remind the hunter that this meal will be paid for in pain. There are field reports from researchers documenting lionesses with broken jaws or severe facial injuries after receiving a direct backward kick from a zebra. But the kick is not just a mechanical movement, it is the result of an instinct that has been refined through evolution. A young zebra may miss its target, but the urge to react with a backward kick when feeling pressure from behind has existed since birth. In animals with more complex brains, like primates or elephants, one can observe the social learning of defensive strategies, the use of tools, and even the imitation of others' behaviors. And in biological reality, these three mechanisms, instinct, reflex, and learned behavior, do not operate in isolation. But are constantly intertwined in a complex and crucial dance of survival. The giraffe, the tallest terrestrial animal on the planet, is a true icon of the African savanna. With an average height of 16 to 20 feet, the adult males can weigh up to 4,200 pounds. Its golden coat with polygonal patches helps it to camouflage flexibly among the dry foliage and the harsh light of the open plains. The giraffe feeds on the young shoots, leaves, and flowers of the acacia tree. With its dark and prehensile tongue, up to 18 inches long, they can navigate the thorny branches. They live mainly in the dry savannas and open woodlands, from Kenya to Tanzania and Botswana. Where there is plenty of foliage and a wide view to spot predators from afar. Despite its gentle appearance, the giraffe possesses one of the most formidable defense systems on the savanna. Its long legs, comparable to reinforced concrete pillars, hide an extraordinary power. A kick from a foreleg can generate a force of 450 to 780 pounds of force, enough to break a jaw or even kill an adult lion if it hits the head. In addition, its height and excellent vision turn the giraffe into a true biological watchtower of the savanna, capable of spotting predators from hundreds of yards away. A giraffe's kick can be lethal. If it strikes the skull of a lion, a cheetah, or even a hyena, a special detail in its defensive behavior. Unlike the zebra, which usually kicks to escape, the giraffe kicks with the intent to kill, especially to protect its young. Even lions, the predators at the top of the food chain, have to think twice before attacking an adult giraffe. To succeed, they must first bring it down. The African buffalo is one of the most dangerous ungulates on the continent. An adult can weigh from 1,100 to over 2,000 pounds, with a muscular and imposing body. Its strength is so great that it can toss an adult lion into the air with a single charge, causing serious injuries. Its most lethal weapon is its pair of curved horns, which extend to the sides and then curve upward like sharp blades. In males, the bases of the horns merge into a thick bone structure called a boss. The buffalo's thick, durable hide acts as a natural armor, making the claws and fangs of a lion less effective. But more frightening than all is its unpredictable and aggressive temperament. Unlike its domesticated relatives, the African buffalo retains a wild and primal instinct. It does not fear humans, nor does it fear lions, and above all, it never surrenders. Therefore, in most hunts, lions only have a real chance when they attack as a group. When the buffalo advance together, they are like an army on the march, strong, united, and ready to fight to the end. Since a buffalo's hide is difficult to penetrate instantly, the lionesses, who are responsible for the hunt, usually attack from behind. A precise pounce can throw the prey off balance and create an opportunity to bring it down, but the plan does not always go as expected. When it senses danger, the buffalo does not run into the forest, it runs back to its group. Reinforcements are certain. It is only a matter of time. In a few seconds, the roles are reversed. The lions try to continue the chase as the herd falls back, but they are surprised by the sharp horns ready to block their way. In buffalo, these reactions are reinforced by collective learning, as individuals learn from the group, and the whole group reacts as one. Another animal that shows impressive collective strength against predators is the chacma baboon, Africa's largest baboon. This is a primate with extremely complex social behavior. They live in troops of up to several hundred individuals. The social structure is well defined, with the strong males positioned at the front and back of the group during movements. The females and young are protected in the center. Their main natural enemy is the leopard. In a bushland in southern Africa, at the end of a hot afternoon, a leopard moves in silence. Unlike the lion, the leopard does not depend on a pride. It is an invisible hunter, a ghost among the branches, an assassin from the shadows. It strikes when the troop is least vigilant. But this time, luck was not on its side. An adult male in the baboon group raises its head. Baboons have a very developed sense of smell and sharp vision. A small signal is enough to trigger the collective alarm system. Instantly, a loud, short, and sharp cry rings out. Their defense is woven from a language of fear, Not a single cry of panic, but a sophisticated vocabulary of terror. There is a specific sound for the shadow in the trees, another for the danger on the ground, and yet another for the threat from the sky. It is an ancient lexicon, allowing the troop to see its enemy through the ears of a single sentinel. For example, a wahoo might be a general warning, but when combined with a low growl, it can specify the exact level of danger or the direction of the enemy's approach. An incredibly sophisticated communication system. The predator has just taken another step, and the entire troop has reorganized. The larger males move to the front, standing tall, fur on end, emitting piercing cries. One of them, perhaps the dominant one, charges without a moment's hesitation. Behind it, the others follow. It is not a desperate reaction. It is a strategy. The victory of the baboons lies not in killing the enemy, but in spoiling the attack before it happens. Unlike other prey that only flee, baboons have a sophisticated social organization. They divide functions, cooperate, and make decisions as a group. The collective acts as a living information network, where signals, emotions, and lessons are transmitted and processed in real time. In the wild, where a second's delay can cost a life, the defense of the baboons depends not only on claws or fangs, but on intelligence, memory, and coordinated response. It is the unity and intelligence of the prey that has made the hunter retreat in silence. Defeated, in the African elephant, one of the species with the most complex social structures in the animal kingdom, motherhood goes beyond nursing or protection. It includes teaching and transmitting survival knowledge. A mother teaches her young how to navigate, how to find water in the dry season, and even how to mourn the death of a group member. In a 30-year study conducted by the organization Save the Elephants in Kenya, researchers concluded that mothers play a decisive role in shaping the behavior of their young. Biologically, the hormone oxytocin, known as the love hormone, plays a crucial role in activating maternal behavior in mammals. This mechanism acts like a pre-programmed biological miracle. Where motherhood is not a choice, but a mission inseparable from the body itself. The spotted hyena is one of the most brutal and effective predators on the African savanna. Its appearance may seem unusual, but its body is perfectly adapted for hunting. Low, powerful, weighing from 100 to over 176 pounds. Shoulders higher than its hips, a broad head, and above all, one of the most powerful jaws among carnivorous mammals. With a yellow coat spotted with dark patches and a muscular neck that helps it tear flesh, carry prey, and even confront other predators, the hyena is an efficient machine. The spotted hyena is an extremely intelligent omnivore. Its diet varies with the seasons and opportunities. They hunt in groups, attacking wildebeest, zebras, impalas, but also scavenge. A clan can be up to 80 individuals led by an alpha female, a rare phenomenon among mammals. This matriarchal structure is highly organized. During one such hunt, a hyena ambushed a young hartebeest, a large antelope. But before it could take the first bite, it was attacked by the calf's mother. Science defines this behavior as a defensive coalition, where prey join forces to counterattack a predator and save a member of their group. The hartebeest cannot withstand the crushing bite, but its mother will not let the killer escape unpunished. Sometimes, a hunt is reversed not by the prey itself, but by the appearance of a third party at the right time and place. In the vibrant context of the African savanna, the hippopotamus is the protagonist of these unexpected moments. The hippopotamus is one of the largest surviving terrestrial animals, second only to the African elephant in weight. An adult can weigh from 1.5 to 3 tons and be up to 16 feet long. Despite its slow and seemingly gentle appearance when submerged in water, do not be deceived. It is one of the most territorial and aggressive mammals in the natural world. They are semi-aquatic animals, spending almost their entire lives in the rivers, lakes, and swamps of the sub-Saharan region. Although they are herbivores, feeding mainly on soft grasses at night. An adult hippo can open its jaw up to 150 degrees, revealing canines that can be up to 20 inches long. Its bite can reach about 2,000 pounds of force, enough to crush a crocodile's skull. Unlike most herbivores that avoid confrontation, the hippo never backs down from an enemy. In the wild, the hippo is not the king of the jungle, but it is certainly the god of the swamp's wrath. So, even the most skilled predators of the savanna know an unwritten rule: do not trespass on a hippo's territory. In a world where life and death always go hand in hand, where the strong are not only the predators, sometimes the appearance of a third force like the hippo creates unexpected turns. When death is just a breath away, nature witnesses reactions beyond all predictions. No room for resignation, no turning back. We are used to the image of the predator, brave, silent, precise. But what few expect is the incredible resistance of those who seem to only know how to flee. Resistance comes not only from physical strength, but from a strategy of desperation. Many prey use their natural weapons, jaws, horns, legs, turning their bodies into a living defensive wall. There are behaviors in nature that even reflect a form of sophisticated collective intelligence. Where the creature fights not just for itself, but is ready to fight for the survival of the group. However, not every reaction leads to a victory. There are creatures that fall, but they leave behind scars and marks that make even the predator hesitate the next time. And you, what do you think? Does true strength lie not in fangs, but in the will to not surrender? When an impala uses its last ounce of strength to charge straight into the fanged jaws of a leopard, it is more than just a survival reflex. And when a herd of buffalo turns back, bravely attacking the predator that is pursuing the weakest member of their group, what we witness is no longer just instinct. It is resistance, a brave and willful choice for survival. In the harsh world of the African savanna, survival has never been just a matter of strength. It is a constant test of adaptation, endurance, and even hope. However, today, even the most powerful survival responses are becoming more fragile than ever. As the very environment they depend on is slowly disappearing. The African savanna was once a vibrant stage for the unending struggle between predator and prey. But now, beyond fangs and horns, the animals face an invisible enemy: climate change. According to a 2023 United Nations report, the average temperature in the Sahara and sub-Saharan regions has risen by more than 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit in the last 50 years, twice as fast as the global average. This is pushing the savanna into a cycle of severe and unusual droughts, making water and food increasingly scarce. Climate change is also disrupting the natural migration cycles. For example, the wildebeest, famous for its great migration, now faces unusually dry rivers and prolonged famines. Additionally, the loss of forests due to logging, agriculture, and mining is significantly reducing the living space for wildlife. While predators like lions and hyenas still hold their place at the top of the food chain, the prey faces a harsher reality than ever before. However, even in this context, nature has not lost its magic. There are herds of elephants that travel hundreds of miles to find ancient water sources, thanks to a phenomenal memory passed down from one generation to the next. But it also means that we do not have much time left. The disappearance of the savanna is not just the loss of a territory, but the shaking of an ecosystem that has been stable for millions of years. Under the scorching savanna sun, every act of resistance is now more than an instinct against a predator. It is a silent but powerful call that nature needs to be heard, needs to be protected. In the harsh context of the modern African savanna, prey faces more than just the fangs of a predator. Amidst the hot winds and withered vegetation, there are those who are silently rebuilding the lost balance. With awareness, with community, with the belief that nature never completely surrenders. One of the most powerful solutions today is the establishment of ecological corridors that connect isolated, protected areas into a continuous network. The Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area project is a prime example. This is the world's largest transboundary conservation area, covering over 200,000 square miles. Additionally, the sustainable management of water resources is being strengthened to keep the rivers and swamps, the lifeblood of the savanna, from drying out. In Botswana, the government and international organizations have invested over $120 million in the restoration of the Okavango Delta. One of the world's largest inland wetlands. At the community level, one of the most impactful changes has been the empowerment of local communities in the management and protection of natural resources. In Namibia, the community-based natural resource management model has proven effective by transferring control of the land to local communities. Technology has also become a new, crucial tool for the savanna ecosystems. From the use of satellites to track animal migrations, to the use of artificial intelligence to predict wildfire risks. In 2024, Conservation International, in partnership with Google Earth Engine, created real-time maps of drought areas, allowing conservationists to coordinate emergency resources. However, these numbers will remain just dry data if there is no connection between humans and nature. So the real hope lies not in miracles, but in each concrete action. Whether it is a reopened channel to allow antelope to reach a water source, every small action from the global community can make a big impact for the African savanna and the threatened ecosystems worldwide. Let us choose to consume sustainably. Support credible conservation organizations. Share knowledge and raise awareness about the importance of wildlife. Though not as agile or swift as the smaller animals previously mentioned, the strength of the black rhino, as one of the big five, the black rhino is remarkably well adapted to the semi-arid environment. The rhino has poor eyesight, but an extremely keen sense of smell. It is very cautious and difficult to approach. The total population of black rhinos in South Africa at the end of 2023 was approximately 2,065 individuals. Despite its large size and imposing appearance, the black rhino is a particularly sensitive species. Each individual possesses its own territory, lives a solitary life, and rarely interacts with others. Most fascinating is the black rhino's symbiotic relationship with the red-billed oxpecker. This bird often perches on the rhino's back or neck, picking off ticks and parasites. Crucially, the oxpecker also functions as a living alarm system. Although the bird may sometimes peck at wounds to feed on blood, the benefit of the warning. The black rhino is a browser, specializing in the leaves, twigs, and shoots of bushes. When food is scarce, it can digest plants with moderate levels of toxicity. Remarkably, they can survive for more than 5 days without drinking, drawing moisture. The black rhino has a body structure suited for a solitary life. To conserve energy, it usually moves slowly and is active at dawn and dusk. The black rhino's hearing is also highly developed, allowing it to perceive sounds from a great distance. However, due to its extreme caution, encounters with this species in the wild are often limited. Rhinos reproduce slowly, with a gestation period of up to 15 months, giving birth to only one calf at a time. The young calf stays with its mother for 2 to 3 years. Studies in 2025 highlighted that the average annual growth rate is only 4.2%. This species has endured a history of survival marked by dramatic changes. The subsequent recovery has been slow, thanks to strict conservation measures and control of poaching. Due to the severe decline in the last century, reserves in South Africa are implementing strategies. Measures include armed patrols, GPS monitoring of individuals, and dehorning. If the black rhino represents silent resistance in a harsh land, the ostrich presents the opposite image. The ostrich is the largest bird in the world. Although flightless, it runs with great speed. An ostrich can stand up to 8 feet tall and weigh around 220 pounds. It runs at a constant speed of about 37 miles per hour and can maintain this pace. Ostriches live in small groups of 5 to 50 individuals, especially during the breeding season. This behavior provides them with a wide field of vision and vigilance against predators. Its diet consists mainly of vegetation, leaves, grasses, plants, and sometimes fruit. Its body temperature is regulated through special mechanisms. A study in 2024 estimated the ostrich density in the region to be about 2 to 4 birds. Long-term studies also show that flocks move in groups to optimize access to food. During the breeding season, males may lead a harem of 2 to 7 females. Male-female pairs cooperate in incubating eggs in a single communal nest to maximize survival. Amid the vast grasslands of Kruger, where the Oliphant's River winds through tall grass, the Nyala appears. They do not join the hustle of savanna life, but choose to live on the fringes. The male Nyala is unmistakable. Its bluish-gray coat, with white vertical stripes along its flanks, looks like a living sculpture. In contrast, the female is a light reddish-brown with fewer markings, allowing her to blend in easily. Nyala live in small groups, sometimes only a few individuals, moving in silence. Their diet is not based on grass like many other antelopes, but on leaves and fallen fruit. It is this selective browsing that gives them a special role in regulating the vegetation. Despite their delicate appearance, Nyala are extremely cautious. If they feel threatened, they emit a sudden sound similar to a dog's bark. This dispersal strategy makes it difficult for large predators to successfully approach. If the Nyala is a gentle shadow gliding through the riverside thickets to hide, the African wild dog represents the opposite. This is a native wild dog, known for its mottled coat and highly effective pack hunting strategy. It is critically endangered, with only a few packs remaining in Kruger and some other reserves. A study in 2022 showed that this population maintains a low level of natural inbreeding. Individuals live in packs of 10 to 30 members with a complex structure. Although their gene pool lacks great diversity, it is sufficient to maintain the viability of the packs. Their hunting tactic is an art of synchronization. The wild dogs detect and encircle their prey in the early hours of the day or at dusk. A study in 2024 showed their diet consists mainly of small and medium-sized antelopes. According to the Fauna and Flora portal, wild dogs quickly exhaust their prey. In Kruger, the African wild dog population is estimated to be stable at 300 to 400 individuals. Data from BioQuest Africa in 2024 confirms that nearly 300 individuals live freely within Kruger. This is South Africa's largest population and is considered the last stronghold of the species. Their journey of survival is fraught with challenges. A 2024 study confirmed that the Kruger population has low genetic diversity. However, this could affect their resilience to environmental changes. Additionally, pressure from large predators like lions or leopards affects their density and distribution. If the African wild dog symbolizes sophisticated pack hunting, the lion represents absolute power. An icon of African wildlife, the lion lives in prides and occupies the dominant role in the food chain. The task of hunting always falls to the lionesses. They hunt in groups from dawn to dusk. They are smaller, faster, and better coordinated in collective pursuits. The stability of relationships between males is a key factor in survival. When young males mature, around 2 to 3 years of age, they are driven out of the pride to find a new coalition. If they succeed in joining a coalition or conquering a territory, they will eliminate the cubs of the previous litter to bring the lionesses back into estrus. Data from tracking collars in 2024 showed a pride travels an average of 5 miles each day. Their hunting success rate is between 30 and 40%, lower than that of African wild dogs. Cooperative hunting and the strength of unity are key to enabling them to take on targets. Lions also know how to use the terrain of the Kruger grasslands. The sounds used to mark territorial limits can travel up to 5 miles. Lion reproduction follows a demanding cycle. Lionesses have a gestation period of about 110 days and give birth to 2 to 4 cubs per litter. Although only about 40% survive the first year due to pressure from predators, based on studies from 2020 to 2025, Kruger currently has between 1,500 and 2,000 lions. The daily activities of lions in Kruger are varied. In the morning, they often gather in wooded areas to rest and digest. At the same time, epidemiological monitoring for diseases like bovine tuberculosis allows sandparks to implement biological measures. One of the reasons for the lion's mere 40% hunting success rate is intense competition. The spotted hyena is a carnivore with an incredibly powerful jaw, capable of crushing bones. Their society is matriarchal. Females are larger and occupy the highest ranks in the clan. They live in clans that can range from 20 to 80 individuals, and in especially favorable conditions, this number can be even larger. Contrary to the stereotype that hyenas only scavenge, they are, in fact, as effective hunters as lions. Research from 2010 and updates in 2024 show that from 43 to 95% of their diet. When they hunt in groups, their efficiency increases from 25 to 35% compared to hunting alone. The air grows thick. Only the heart-rending calls of the spotted hyenas remain. The scent of blood rises and curls in the hot air. Suddenly, in the distance, the figures of lionesses appear. One lunges forward, attacking the largest hyena straight on the shoulder. The other hyenas rush forward, baring their teeth and biting at the enemy's legs and tail. The savanna erupts into an inferno of roars, howls, and tearing flesh. Scenes of conflict between these two species are not uncommon on the savanna. They can run up to 37 miles per hour for several miles. Hyenas also know how to exploit the terrain of the Kruger grasslands. Each clan marks its territory with scat and urine near trails. The population of spotted hyenas in Kruger is currently quite stable, estimated at 1,300 to 1,800 individuals. Despite sharing their habitat with lions and other prominent predators, they persist. Like the hyena, scavenging is an essential part of the Kruger ecosystem, and the white-backed vulture is the indispensable cleaner. This vulture, the most common in South Africa, plays a critical role in preventing the spread of disease. With a wingspan of over 6.5 feet and extraordinary vision, it can soar at altitudes of thousands of feet. The spiraling flight at high altitude is the white-backed vulture's unique way of locating carcasses. Although they fly alone, upon finding a kill, they quickly gather in small flocks. Their ability to clean up carcasses is both a survival story of their own and a service to the entire ecosystem. A 2024 report confirmed that thanks to vultures, dozens of cases of disease transmission are prevented. Data also shows that about 100 vultures can strip the carcass of a 100-pound antelope in just 3 minutes. However, the white-backed vulture's path to survival is not simple. According to IUCN data, the population of this species has declined by an average of 4.1% per year. Organizations are implementing rescue programs, monitoring, and community prevention against poisoning. One of the main causes is the poisoning of wildlife to cover up poaching activities. The most serious recent incident occurred in May 2025 in Kruger National Park. They had fed on a poisoned elephant, causing the toxin to spread throughout the group. Organizations are developing rescue programs, monitoring, and community prevention against poisoning. Stretching north from the Kruger grasslands is the Limpopo Oliphant's riparian zone. Rivers like the Limpopo and Oliphants provide year-round water and allow for the formation of wetlands. Along these watercourses lies an ecological belt, where life concentrates at its highest density. The strip of land between the Limpopo and Oliphants rivers is a paradise of vegetation and home to the warthog. This species is mainly active during the day, taking advantage of the early hours of light to forage. Warthogs particularly favor grasslands near rivers, where the soil is firm and the grass is short and easy to graze. A recent study in the Limpopo Oliphants riparian zone in 2024 recorded a density of about 3 to 5 individuals. At midday, when the sun is at its peak, they return to abandoned burrows to rest. Warthogs often use burrows previously dug by aardvarks and sometimes utilize those of porcupines. They enter the burrow backwards, keeping their tusks facing outwards as a defensive barrier. The warthog is an omnivore, primarily feeding on grass and roots, but when necessary, it supplements its diet. Warthogs live in groups called sounders, consisting of females and their young, forming small communities. When threatened, they raise their tails vertically to alert others and dash straight into their burrows. Meanwhile, on the riverbank appears a colossal creature that combines majesty with memory and emotion, the African bush elephant. The African bush elephant is the largest land animal on the planet. It is neither agile nor swift. But to have survived for thousands of years in the harshness of the environment, the elephant is anything but ordinary. The herd is led by an old and experienced matriarch. A study in 2024 showed that these matriarchs can remember the exact locations of water holes. Furthermore, they lead the herd back on a cycle of 12 to 15 months. With their enormous size but a youthful spirit, elephants often choose the Oliphant's River as their bathtub. They use their trunks to suck up water, spray it on their backs, and roll in the mud. This cools their skin and also protects against parasites and keeps their hides moisturized. The spatial and emotional memory of elephants is astonishing. A project published in the Animal Behavior Journal in 2025 documented that at least 65% of herds This behavior demonstrates a deep affection and an extraordinary social bond. The diet of an elephant is quite varied. They are giant herbivores that consume shrubs, leaves, and bark. This process contributes essentially to the regeneration of low vegetation and ecological balance. During the dry season, when shallow streams disappear, African bush elephants use their tusks and trunks. The trunk is both a sophisticated survival tool and a versatile defensive weapon. The matriarch's memory is not just a recollection, it is a water map. She knows exactly where her ancestors dug for water 50 years ago. And when she finds it, she doesn't just save her family. She becomes the chief engineer, the life-bringer for the entire valley. The elephant's ability to communicate is also remarkable. They produce infrasound calls from 14 to 30 Hz that can travel for miles. A 2024 study recorded these infrasound signals being emitted when the herd expressed emotions. Despite standing up to 11 feet tall and weighing around 13,000 pounds, elephants can move quickly. When threatened, the herd often spreads its ears, raises its trunks, and advances slowly. Ultimately, elephants have a powerful impact on the riverside ecological structure. By knocking down bushes and opening paths for sunlight, they create conditions for grasses and seedlings. Meanwhile, beneath the river's surface appears a semi-aquatic giant with extraordinary power and survival instincts, the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus is the second largest semi-aquatic animal in the world. The hippo's roar is not just for show. It's a stereo concert. It produces sound simultaneously through its mouth and its throat. It's a dual message, warning enemies on land and the crocodiles lurking below. Despite their seemingly placid appearance, they are extremely aggressive when they feel threatened. This is one of Africa's most dangerous species, responsible for about 500 human fatalities each year. A hippo can hold its breath for up to 5 minutes and walk or even run along the riverbed. At night, when it's cooler, they come ashore to graze, consuming up to 110 pounds of grass. A 2024 study demonstrated that hippo dung plays a crucial role. They defecate directly in the water and then wag their tails to disperse the waste, promoting growth. Their massive muzzles and mouths contain 2 canines that can grow up to 20 inches long. When threatened, they can open their mouths up to 180 degrees with a bite force of 8,000 to 9,000 newtons. Also lurking in the river, the Nile crocodile, the region's largest, stirs in silence. They are prominent in stretches of the river around Kruger, where the slow-moving current creates ideal conditions. The Nile crocodile lies motionless just below the surface, exposing only its eyes and nostrils, waiting for prey. With a bite of up to 22,000 newtons, one of the strongest in the animal kingdom, when the moment comes, it launches a lightning-fast attack, using its tail for a powerful strike to unbalance its victim. It all ends so quickly that the surface is still rippling while the prey has already vanished into the murky depths. An incredible trait of this species is its ability to endure long periods of fasting. They can slow their metabolism and hold their breath underwater for up to 2 hours. Reproduction is also a fundamental part of their population strategy. Each season, the female builds a sand nest on the bank, where she lays 30 to 60 eggs. Research shows that the Nile crocodile population in the Olifants has faced significant ecological pressure. However, studies in 2024 indicate that in the lower reaches of the river around Kruger, the population remains stable. The Nile crocodile is also considered a keystone species in the Olifants' aquatic ecosystem. Its presence is an indicator that the river system remains healthy, indirectly supporting. From the lowlands of the Limpopo River, South Africa's terrain gradually rises southward. This area extends at an altitude of 4,600 to 5,900 feet, where the climate is cooler. The landscape is characterized by grasslands interspersed with low shrubs, forming an ecological foundation. Under the wide skies of the high-veld grasslands, groups of springbok, the national animal of South Africa. This antelope is famous for its high leaps and can reach speeds of up to 55 miles per hour. They typically inhabit open grasslands with scattered shrubs, well adapted to the dry and cold climate. In the harsh nature of the high-veld, springbok are most active at dawn and dusk. They move in herds from a few dozen to hundreds of individuals, protecting each other with their high jumps. A distinctive detail of the springbok is the dark stripe that runs from its eye to its mouth. The springbok can survive for long periods without drinking water due to its ability to absorb liquid. The rainy season is also the ideal time for reproduction, although they mate year-round. The gestation period lasts 5 to 6 months, and they usually give birth to a single calf per litter. While the springbok paints graceful leaps across the plateau, the black wildebeest leaves. They have a dark brown coat, a thick mane on their neck, and forward curving horns. Wildebeest live in large herds, creating rhythmic movements across the savanna. These migrations are for both foraging and maintaining social structure and defense. Their diet consists mainly of low grasses and herbaceous plants. In cold and arid conditions, the black wildebeest can survive for weeks without direct access. According to a 2024 study, the density of black wildebeest in some areas of the Free State Each herd consists of both adults and young, operating in an organized manner with group defense behaviors. Instead of relying solely on speed when threatened, black wildebeest move in a synchronized fashion. The waving white tail is a visual signal that keeps the herd cohesive while running. After the organized defensive display of the black wildebeest herds, the savanna landscape continues to bustle. Both species live in close proximity, forming a natural alliance on the high-veld grasslands. The plains zebra is common in the open savannas and grasslands of South Africa. Cooperation with wildebeest is an effective survival and defense strategy for the zebra. Studies on herd dynamics, published in the Journal of Behavioral Ecology, show this tactic reduces The zebra's diet consists mainly of short grasses and herbs. Each zebra consumes 33 to 44 pounds of dry matter per day, ensuring necessary energy. For individual defense, a zebra can reach speeds of up to 40 miles per hour in short sprints. Their powerful hind legs can deliver kicks with a tremendous force, enough to cause serious injury to a predator. During the dry season, zebra herds follow wildebeest to areas with stable water. If the zebra is an artist of camouflage on the grasslands, the Cape buffalo is like a living shield. One of the big five, this African buffalo is renowned for its strength and combative temperament. The Cape buffalo has an imposing body, thick hide, and a solid pair of arching horns. They live in herds of 10 to several hundred individuals, forming a natural shield against lions. When threatened, the entire herd unites, creating a living barrier with the horned bulls. This behavior has been documented in numerous confrontations in the Kruger and Mala Mala reserves. During the dry season, they move in large groups to maximize collective defense. In those places, Cape buffalo often wallow in mud, a physiological strategy. This habit is key to their adaptation to long, dry summers. The primary diet of the Cape buffalo consists of grass, but when scarce, they switch to young shoots. An adult can consume from 13 to 37 pounds of dry grass per day, providing energy. In the herd structure, females and young form the core, while adult males patrol. Bachelor groups of males can be very aggressive, though they rarely participate in primary defense. When a calf lets out a distress call, the entire herd reacts and moves to protect it. Finally, Cape buffalo undertake internal seasonal migrations in the highveld. After the thunderous movements of the Cape buffalo herds, the space seems to settle as a slender figure. This snake-hunting bird is known for its elegant gait, almost like that of a model. The secretary bird has a distinctive walk with long legs and an upright body. Specializing in hunting snakes and other small prey, it uses its powerful legs like hammers. It walks at a pace of about 1.5 to 2 miles per hour, with an average of 120 steps per minute. The secretary bird's technique for killing snakes is impressive. Each bird typically holds a territory of about 8 square miles, traversing the low grasslands. Conservation is a pressing issue for the secretary bird. A study by BirdLife South Africa, presented in a 2024 report, warns. From the vast grasslands of the Highveld, South Africa's landscape transforms dramatically. The garden root forest emerges as a green, humid ribbon winding along the coast. This region is characterized by dense forests, where ancient trees tower tens of feet high. The gently rolling hills interspersed with river valleys have created a unique ecosystem. Under the thick fog, the bushbuck hides among the forest foliage. Unlike many herd-dwelling antelopes, the bushbuck chooses a solitary life. When they sense danger, they do not flee immediately, but stand perfectly still. At a distant sign of threat, the bushbuck freezes, lowers its body, and remains motionless. Absolute silence, combined with the ability to move silently through familiar paths, the bushbuck also has agile legs that allow it to navigate through dense thickets. They prefer to live near streams and watercourses, both for food and for a quick escape. Without fangs or long, powerful horns, the bushbuck relies on extreme vigilance. As night falls, the crown of the garden root forest is silently passed to the leopard. With its honey-colored coat adorned with unique rosettes, it is perfectly camouflaged. In a dense forest environment, this ability to remain hidden is its crucial survival advantage. The leopard typically hunts at night or during times of low light. After taking down its prey, it hauls the carcass into high branches, 13 to 16 feet up. Few know that the leopard is also a surprisingly capable swimmer, though not as naturally as a tiger. It is a valuable skill in a coastal ecosystem like the garden route. However, beneath the serene facade of the leopard's solitary life lie fierce conflicts. One of the greatest threats to leopard cubs is infanticide. When a new male takes control of a territory, he often eliminates cubs that are not his own. According to a 2024 study in the Sabi Sand Game Reserve, this behavior accounts for up to 49% of cub mortality. Furthermore, the leopard's reproductive strategy is heavily dependent on natural territory dispersal patterns. Mature males leave their natal territories to avoid inbreeding. However, with the increase in human-caused mortality, this pattern is disrupted. Leopards reproduce year-round with a gestation period of about 90 to 105 days. The mother raises her young cubs in the forest shadows, teaching them how to climb. In an environment full of competition and threats, survival skills are passed from one generation. Despite being solitary, leopards command vast territories from 8 to 15 square miles. In the grand tapestry of creation, each individual fulfills an assigned role. From the bush, a lion emerges. They call him Shadow. At 8 years old, his powerful frame moves with a controlled grace. Each step is an assertion of the power he commands. His face is a map of past battles. This is not merely a predator, but a seasoned warrior. He is approaching his pride. In the shade, lionesses, young males, and 4 small cubs are waiting. The cubs do not yet know the harshness of this world. They know only their mother's warmth, and she knows he is near. Shadow draws closer. His warm, amber eyes radiate an immense authority. He pauses at the edge of the thicket, surveying his domain with a regal air. This is his land. One of the lionesses, perhaps his younger mate, trots over and playfully rubs against his flank. But his attention is already on Kali. Kali lies in the shade, relaxed but ever watchful. Her cubs clamber over her back. Their eyes meet in a silent moment of understanding. She approaches with the quiet confidence and tenderness known only to a long-bonded pair. She gently nuzzles her head against his mane, inhaling his familiar scent. Meanwhile, the bravest of the cubs has discovered the black tuft on Shadow's tail. He pounces as if it were the most magnificent of toys. The formidable king of the pride is now simply a father. When the breeding season comes, the female southern ground hornbill seals herself inside a tree cavity, entirely dependent on her faithful mate to pass food through a narrow slit. The deep, booming call of this bird is a familiar refrain in this wild land. Meanwhile, Kali is playing with her cubs. They climb on her, wrestle with each other, and pounce on her ears and tail. Jaws that can kill an antelope are now a picture of gentleness. For her, this is a lesson. For them, it is a game. But for the pride, they are the most precious and vulnerable of assets. As youngsters, they can be hunted by jackals, hyenas, even eagles. But there are also invisible enemies, ticks, fleas, and parasitic infections. Their mother's milk is their first line of defense, and she nurses them generously. Every day is a challenge, but they are living each moment to the fullest. As long as their leader reigns, order will be maintained. But this order is not eternal. One day, strangers will come to challenge. If they succeed, they will kill all the cubs that are not of their bloodline. Kali and the other lionesses know this. It is why they stay together. But for now, Shadow is near, and he is their protector. Shadow lies beneath a tree. His deep, resonant roar is not a threat, but a declaration. I am here. To other lions, it is a warning. This territory is taken. To his pride, it is reassurance. His roar is a protective wall. But then, Shadow's roar catches in his throat, silenced not by a challenger, but by a presence that demands respect. Elephants. They move with the weight of time, and to them, the king of beasts is merely part of the landscape they command. A herd of elephants appears amongst the trees. They advance slowly, as if the forest itself is parting to let them pass. After lingering near the lions for a time, the herd heads towards the open plains. Shadow is thirsty. He walks to the waterhole alone, slowly and with confidence. He lowers his head and begins to drink. Water is a scarce commodity, and each sip is almost a ritual. This is his territory, his water source, and he behaves with the dignity of one who holds power. Two cheetahs appear on the plain. Their steps are hurried, their bodies tense. They are leaving, constantly looking back, as if sensing the threat of the lion's territory. When a cheetah crosses that invisible line, if spotted by an adult male lion, it stands no chance of survival. After the lions have departed, a herd of elephants approaches the waterhole. Among the adults are two calves. They rush to the water's edge, noisily sucking up water with their short trunks. The waterhole at the heart of the Savanna is a crossroads for countless creatures. The quiet never lasts. No sooner has the elephant herd left than a new procession arrives. First, the warthogs. They move with a jaunty gait, tails held high like antennae. Nearly everyone has an oxpecker perched on its back. These birds perform an essential service, cleaning parasites from their host's skin and tending to small wounds. And then a new wave approaches. Wildebeest. Their herd is vast, dark, and in a constant state of unease. They move in unison, like a single organism. They are grazers who know the price of a moment's inattention. Warthogs do not build elaborate homes. An old aardvark burrow will suffice. It will back in, leaving its sharp tusks facing out for defense. Though they may appear cumbersome, warthogs can run at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour and become formidable when cornered. What remains of last night's hunt are ribs, dust, and a lingering scent. The vultures descend on the carcass. By midday, they are finishing their work. They are the cleaners of the land, performing a ritual both ancient and vital. Within their stomachs, a fierce transformation turns death back into life, neutralizing disease and cleansing the land. In the distance, a marabou stork stands watching silently. Its time will come later, when the competition has thinned. A giraffe approaches the water hole. It knows how vulnerable it is when it lowers its head to drink. To drink, it must perform a perilous ballet, splaying its legs, lowering its magnificent head into the jaws of danger. And in the shadows, the lions are watching. It hesitates. It bends down slowly, then abruptly straightens up, as if something has startled it. It tries again, almost touching its lips to the water's surface, but no, it straightens up again. Neck taut, eyes alert. Finally, it lowers its head once more. Slowly, confidently, it begins to drink, cautiously but deeply. In the dusty landscape, a family of Burchell's sand grouse is on the move. The father exhibits a remarkable behavior. In the morning, he flies tens of miles to the nearest waterhole. The feathers on his breast have a unique structure that allows them to hold water. He soaks himself, collecting the moisture, then flies back. The chicks eagerly run to him and drink the precious droplets directly from their father's body, a moving ritual of paternal care. The sun sets, painting the sky in hues of rose and ash blue. The shadows of the tall acacia trees stretch across the ground. For the lions, things are just beginning. As dusk falls, the pride awakens. The lionesses stretch, their movements becoming more focused. The wind carries scents. Perhaps wildebeest are near, perhaps impala. The lionesses disappear into the darkness. They move quickly and almost without a sound. This is their time. Meanwhile, the cubs are fast asleep. They are curled together in a warm pile of fur. And so another day in wild Africa comes to a close. A day in which every creature has played its part, from the delicate sand grouse to the mighty lion. Life goes on. Tomorrow it will all begin again. No one knows when death will strike, for danger always comes from the most unexpected quarter. Every creature carries within it a single mission: survive by any means necessary. And time will prove who will be the last one standing. In Zimbabwe's Hwange National Park, studies have shown that the presence of lions has reshaped the behavior of herbivores. Buffalo, giraffes, and kudu all keep their distance from the waterhole when a pride is near. But another predator also stalks these water margins. A solitary hunter. Not as fast as the cheetah, nor as numerous as the lion. It is the leopard. Moving silently through the tall grass, it glides between shadow and moonlight, a perfect veil for an ambush. The leopard is not a sprinter. Instead, it is a master climber, gripping the bark with razor-sharp claws, launching up to 20 feet in a single bound. Its golden eyes burn in the darkness, amplified by the tapetum lucidum, a natural form of night vision. The leopard often avoids the water holes, wary of being exposed. But for its prey, these shrinking pools are irresistible traps. Patience defines the leopard. It can wait for hours for its prey to draw closer, measuring every sound, every shift of the wind until the strike is certain. Then it launches 37 miles an hour in a short burst. Its jaws clamp onto the throat or the spine of its prey. What sets it apart is not just the strike, but what happens next. With phenomenal strength, it hauls its prey, sometimes heavier than itself, up into the high branches of a tree. Here, lions, hyenas, and wild dogs cannot follow. Only the leopard, in its solitude, enjoys its feast in silence. Adaptability is its secret. From rainforest to desert, it eats almost anything. But even the ghost of the Savanna is under threat. Once widespread across Africa and Asia, the leopard has vanished from 13 countries and is critically endangered in 7 others. Today, it exists in only a fraction of its former range, with strongholds in Tanzania, Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. Today, it exists in only a fraction of its former range, with key strongholds remaining in vast areas like Tanzania, Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. But survival is not guaranteed. Lions kill nearly a quarter of all leopards in some regions. Hyenas steal almost half of their kills. For centuries, the spotted hyena has borne the reputation of a mere scavenger. But modern research reveals a different truth. Up to 95% of their diet comes from their own hunts. Unlike the lion or the cheetah, which rely on explosive bursts and surprise ambushes, the spotted hyena is built for endurance. With a jaw that generates a bite force of over 1,000 pounds, the strongest of any terrestrial mammal, the hyena can crush even the hardest bones. They pressure their prey as a collective, communicating with their strange laughs and whoops. Hyenas live in clans that can number up to 80 individuals. They are ruled not by the males, but by the dominant females. And their chilling laugh? It is not joy at all. This sound is usually made during moments of social stress or high excitement, such as a dispute over a carcass. Each individual has a laugh with a unique pitch, which reveals its age and status to others in the clan. It is a complex social bulletin encoded in a sound we often mistake for brutality. Larger, heavier, and hormonally charged, the females enforce a strict matriarchal order. With their numbers, hyenas challenge any rival, even lions. Their clans hold territories that stretch for hundreds of square miles. But they are more than just predators. By consuming carrion, hyenas cleanse the landscape of disease. By culling the herbivore herds, they shape grazing patterns, which in turn shapes the vegetation. In the hierarchy of African predators, the lion rules by strength, the leopard by stealth. The spotted hyena rules by unity, endurance, and the ability to seize every opportunity. As night falls, the lions begin to stir. They do not go straight to the water's edge. Instead, they melt into the tall grass and the earth mounds, waiting, patient and invisible. The lion is the only big cat that lives and hunts in a pride. Together they can bring down prey weighing hundreds of pounds, such as wildebeest, zebras, and even the formidable African buffalo. Tonight, at a shrinking waterhole, a black rhino is struggling in desperation. From the darkness, three golden shapes emerge, the lionesses, the seasoned hunters of the pride. A lioness lunges, sinking her teeth into its flank, but the rhino's nearly 2-inch thick hide holds firm. With a powerful jerk, it breaks free and charges. The hunters scatter. Tonight, the giant has escaped. The hunts of lions often unfold with ruthless precision. A few silently circle behind the herd, driving the prey into the waiting jaws of their companions. But the hunt is only the beginning. When the prey is down, the male will come to claim his share first, asserting his dominance as he guards the feast from scavengers like the spotted hyena. His other duty is to patrol the pride's boundaries, protecting the precious waterholes, which are vital for survival in the dry season. What the lions leave behind is not wasted. The carcass becomes a feast for the scavengers. Vultures descend from the sky, returning what is left of life to the earth. High above, these masters of the sky patrol in circles at altitudes of 1,600 to 4,900 feet. Their eyes, 3 to 4 times sharper than a human's, scan the savanna for the slightest signs. When one vulture descends on a carcass, others, even miles away, follow in a silent chain of signals. When a predator abandons its kill, the savanna soon stirs with dark wings. Within an hour, dozens, sometimes hundreds, of vultures descend. Every feature of the vulture's body is sculpted by evolution for one purpose: to scavenge. Their bare heads and necks can delve deep into a carcass's chest cavity without getting fouled. The hooked beak tears through the toughest hides of buffalo and giraffe, while the rough tongue scrapes the last shreds of muscle from the bone. But it is their stomach that holds the real secret. A cauldron of acid with a pH of nearly 1, capable of destroying what would kill most other creatures. Anthrax bacteria, rabies virus, botulinum toxin. The vulture turns death into energy, preventing plagues from sweeping the land. They do not just eat the dead, they sterilize it. Their immune systems are astonishingly robust, and they are among the few creatures that can digest anthrax-infected meat without harm. In fact, their droppings have a sanitizing effect on the soil around a carcass. They are not just cleaners, they are the mobile decontamination units of the Savanna, the silent guardians against invisible enemies. At the waterhole, competition erupts, not just between different vulture species, but with another phantom of death, the marabou stalk. Over 3 feet tall, armed with a beak more than a foot long, the stalk strides straight into the chaos, pushing aside rivals to claim its share. Like the vulture, its design speaks of survival. A bald head, a dagger-like beak, and a strange, inflatable gular sac. Their menu is even more varied. Fish, frogs, lizards, eggs, even rubbish near human settlements. They are the ultimate opportunists. With jabs as swift as a spear, they add fresh prey to their carrion meal. Together, the vulture and the marabou stalk embody nature's final act. They cleanse the savanna, recycle death into life, and ensure that nothing is wasted. Unlike the larger, more cautious antelopes, the helmeted guinea fowl burst onto the scene with their characteristic hustle and boundless energy. A flock is never small. 10, 20, sometimes more than 25. They move as one, a tight-knit social unit. Their calls are never silent. Loud, rhythmic calls fill the air, keeping the group connected and warding off danger. This constant chatter is not just noise, it is a lifeline. Impalas, wildebeest, Even zebras benefit from their vigilance. A single alarm call can carry for 164 yards. Though they have wings, they rarely waste them. When danger strikes, they run fast, coordinated, and relentless. At 22 miles an hour, they frustrate predators. Guinea fowl are also shapers of the land. Eating seeds, tubers, and insect swarms, they cleanse the savanna. They will take a lizard or a baby snake when the chance arises. They are everywhere. South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Angola. Their numbers reach 28 to 30 million. Most roam outside of protected areas, thriving when the dry season closes in. They gather around the last waterholes. When the rains return, they scatter across the plains once more. The guinea fowl, noisy, relentless, indomitable, is not just a part of the savanna. It is its sentinel, its early warning system, and its tireless guardian. At midday on the African savanna, the sun bakes the earth, and the shade of a tree becomes a rare treasure. It is at this unforgiving hour that the giraffe begins its slow, deliberate approach to the waterhole. Unlike other herbivores that prefer the safety of dawn or dusk, the giraffe chooses the heat of noon, a time when lions, leopards, and hyenas retreat to rest. Their great height gives them a commanding view of the plains, but to drink they must bend. A giant folding itself, a frame stretched and exposed. This seemingly simple act is, in fact, a feat of bioengineering. To pump blood 16 feet up to its brain, a giraffe's heart is a phenomenal machine, weighing up to 24 pounds and generating blood pressure twice that of a human. And to keep from fainting from a rush of blood to the head when it bends down, it has a complex network of blood vessels in its neck that acts as a natural pressure regulation valve. Every sip is not just an act of quenching thirst, it is a confrontation with the laws of physics itself. In those moments, balance is lost, and the giraffe's greatest advantage becomes its greatest vulnerability. They never linger. Each drink is fleeting, measured in seconds. Bend, drink, raise, watch, listen, then bend again. When in a group, one always stands guard, taller than the rest, its eyes scanning the horizon. Height is their glory. A full-grown male can be over 18 feet tall and weigh nearly 4,400 pounds. With their long necks and 20-inch tongues, they browse on thorny acacia leaves. They do not move with the thunder of an elephant, nor the dust-kicking charge of a buffalo. Instead, they glide across the plains, leaving very little trace. But even giants must drink with care. Steep banks, murky pools, obscured views. They avoid these places. For danger does not only stalk from the bushes, sometimes it waits beneath the surface, silent, still, patient, the Nile crocodile. These tall herbivores are cautious and calculated in every move. And so, every drink becomes a ritual of survival. Bend, drink, raise, watch. The rhythm of giants in a land where hesitation can mean death. As the sun climbs high, the savanna hardens under the heat. The air turns harsh, the ground whitens, and the once peaceful waterhole becomes a chaotic mess. Zebras, wildebeest, buffalo, herd after herd pushes forward, churning the shallows into a thick, muddy soup. Beneath that opaque veil, peace is an illusion. Here, patience reigns. A ripple, a pair of nostrils, the glint of an unblinking eye, the sign of the Nile crocodile. Some are over 16 feet long, weighing more than 1,500 pounds, yet they barely disturb the water. Their scaly hides mirror the mud, their stillness as absolute as stone. They wait for hours, days, sometimes weeks, for a single mistake. A lowered drink from an antelope, a moment of lost vigilance, then an explosion. A lunge at 40 feet per second, the prey is dragged under before it can cry out. This is not a predator that gives chase. The crocodile wins by patience, not speed, by silence, not force. As the dry season wears on, the hippopods begin their slow march towards the last remaining waterholes. These are not just places to drink, they are sanctuaries, lifelines in a world desperately running dry. At midday, when the air sizzles above 104 degrees, the hippos submerge themselves. With their massive frames, thick skin, and almost no sweat glands, the water is their only shield against the Sunday. Each adult can weigh over 3,300 pounds, and yet, in the water, they move with a surprising grace. Though they cannot swim like a fish, they glide by walking along the riverbed. As space shrinks, tempers flare. Dominant bulls, fiercely territorial, clash with powerful thrusts, their bellows echoing across the lake. Territory marking is crucial. The hippo scatters its dung by wagging its tail, a unique communication system, asserting sovereignty, warning off rivals. Across Africa, the hippo is tied to rivers, lakes, and floodplains. However, their range has shrunk in recent decades. Today, only about 115,000 to 130,000 remain. Hippos are not just inhabitants, they are engineers. As they move, they create channels that guide water and keep the soil moist. Their waste, though it sometimes depletes oxygen, nourishes the bottom-dwelling organisms and fish. The African buffalo are often among the first to arrive. Their great herds roam the savanna. Once numbering over 500,000, their numbers have dwindled due to habitat loss, relentless hunting, and the pressures of climate change. Life in the herd is their greatest strength. From a few dozen to 1,000 strong, the buffalo live by a strict hierarchy, cemented not by bloodline, but by ritualized horn-clashing contests. At the waterhole, they drink with an urgency, often in the cool of early morning or late evening. They wallow in the mud, coating their bodies in a natural armor against insects and the heat. When dry, it hardens into a shield, both a protection and a badge of survival. But the waterhole is not a sanctuary, it is a battlefield. Here, the African buffalo face rivals as formidable as themselves. The greatest challenge comes not from the buffalo, but from the giants. When the elephants arrive, the buffalo retreat. Against the largest land animal on Earth, even these giants know their limits. The elephants do not come to the waterhole just to drink. Here, survival flows through every drop. The pools are a place to cool their massive bodies, to care for their skin, and to nurture the bonds that hold the herd together. A single adult can consume up to 80 gallons of water a day. Each mouthful is drawn up by the trunk, the most versatile tool in the animal kingdom. These waterholes are not just wells. They are spas, playgrounds, and gathering places. Adults bathe and spray each other. Calves frolic in the shallows. When the surface water dries up, the elephants dig into the cracked earth with their tusks and feet, tapping into hidden reserves. In doing so, they provide water not just for themselves, but for countless other creatures. For this, they are called the engineers of the ecosystem. The giants of Africa are scattered across the continent, numbering around 415,000. But their story is shadowed by decline. The Savanna elephant has fallen by 70% since the 1960s. The forest elephant by as much as 90%. As the seasons turn, the elephants march with the rains. In the dry months, they return faithfully to the most reliable water sources. Some herds in Botswana travel over 186 miles to reach the Chobe River. At the waterhole, the elephant dominates. Their rule can be stern, even aggressive, but it ensures the survival of the herd. One day, a lone bull elephant approaches. Waiting at the water's edge is a black rhino. Muscles tensed, horn glinting. It refuses to drink, refuses to move. The elephant pauses, exhales, and kicks dust into the air, a warning. But the rhino holds its ground. The stillness is broken. From the woodland comes the sound of snapping branches like war drums. More bulls emerge, silent, massive, unstoppable. The rhino hesitates, then yields. Step by step, it backs into the shadows, ceding the water to the true giants of Africa. A black rhino is not tied to any one waterhole. It comes only when the land is quiet, often in the gentler hours of the day. Its visits are brief, just long enough to drink its fill before melting back into the surrounding bush. In good conditions, a rhino can drink up to 9 gallons of water a day. But when the land is parched, they can endure for days without a single drop, drawing life from the moisture hidden in leaves and young branches. Around the water's edge, the mud tells their story. Great circular footprints are pressed into the ground. Here they wallow, rolling their massive bodies so that every inch of skin is coated in a cool layer of mud. When dry, this layer becomes an armor, shielding them from the glaring sun, biting insects, and relentless parasites. Though solitary, the black rhino leaves its message at the waterhole. Dung piles and sprayed urine form an invisible language. But with their strong ties to territory and their volatile tempers, clashes are almost inevitable. When two rhinos meet, a tense standoff can explode into a violent battle. As the dry season nears its end, the savanna sky begins to change. Heavy, promising clouds roll in. The first drops fall, gentle, scattered. Then the rain strengthens, soaking the cracked earth in a clean, life-giving flood. The waterholes are transformed before our eyes. The once shrinking mud pools now swell and overflow. Some merge, creating vast wetlands. Around the banks, green erupts with astonishing speed. In just a few weeks, fresh grass carpets the ground, soft, young, and rich in nutrients. Among them is one of Africa's strangest residents. Nicknamed the Jesus bird, the African jacana appears to walk on water. Its impossibly long toes spread its weight over the floating lily pads. The rainy season is its kingdom. The shallow, plant-filled waters become both its hunting ground and its breeding territory. But what sets it apart most is its family life. Unlike most birds, here the female dominates. Larger, more colorful, and fiercely territorial. She mates with multiple males, leaving each one in charge of a clutch of eggs. The male builds a flimsy nest of floating vegetation, then incubates the eggs alone. When the chicks hatch, they can walk within hours. The father's role, however, is far from over. The female, meanwhile, has already moved on, leaving her legacy in multiple nests, spreading her risk across the wetlands. It is a strategy shaped by evolution. After the African jacana's delicate dance on the water, the savanna changes once again. The fresh streaks of rain carve silver paths across the land, feeding the water holes. And in this new quiet, a dark figure appears. The grey heron, tall, silent, and dignified. Nearly 3 feet tall with a wingspan of almost 6.5 feet. The rainy season is its ally. While the earth is soft and slow, the heron perfects its art of patience. It does not chase. It waits, balanced on one leg, motionless for minutes, sometimes hours. Then, a sudden flash. Its spear-like beak strikes. Precise, lethal. The prey is impaled or swallowed whole before the ripples have faded. This master of stillness is not a picky eater. From fish and shrimp to crabs, even a stray mouse or chick, anything careless enough to come close will not escape. But survival is not its only mission. When the breeding season arrives, the solitary hunter becomes part of a colony. Dozens gather in towering rookeries. From the Okavango Delta to Table Bay, wherever the rains collect, the grey heron waits, patient, silent, deadly. Although they share the colour grey in both their name and their plumage, the grey-crowned crane lives to a completely different rhythm. As the first rains soak the savanna and the shallow pans return, these cranes descend with outstretched wings. Their golden crowns glitter in the sunday. Unlike the silent heron, the crane rarely stands still. It paces the water's edge. With each firm step, the muddy ground trembles and hidden creatures scatter. Frogs leap, insects burst from cover, and in that instant, the crane's sharp beak strikes with high precision. Their diet is varied and opportunistic. Grasshoppers, lizards, seeds, even eggs. For the crane, however, survival is not just about the hunt, it is about connection. On the flooded plains, pairs and small family groups gather. Then the call rings out, a booming trumpet that echoes across the savanna, a sound both primal and haunting. And the dance begins, a ritual of leaps and bows, wings spread wide in a living ballet. These dances are not just for show, they are a language of loyalty, reinforcing the bonds between lifelong mates. Though not a long-distance migrant, the grey-crowned crane follows the rains, moving seasonally in search of water and greenery. Their beauty is so iconic that they stand at the center of Uganda's national flag, a national symbol of grace, elegance, and pride. In the wild, they can live for up to 25 years. But their legacy is not in the years, but in their presence, their dance, their call, and their golden crown against the evening sky.